Hi everybody, welcome to this video tutorial. Today we're going to take a look at the factory design pattern used in object-oriented programming. Hopefully you've familiarized yourself with the scenario and you've set up a project environment with all of these class files, and you've started the worksheet and you've now reached the video task. So let's jump into the code and see if we can figure out how to incorporate the factory design pattern in this program. Just a quick review. In our main class, we are asking the user what type of car they want, and then we're constructing, for example, a share car object. It could be a rent car object or a buy car object, but this example, we're constructing a share car object, and we're calling the share method of that object, and we're sending it the type of car that we want to construct. Okay, so maybe Ferrari, maybe Bentley. So if we go into share car, the share method grabs that type and then it tries to figure out, okay, so you want a Bentley, I'm going to construct a Bentley and assign it to our instance variable here. Okay, or if you want a Ferrari, we'll give you a Ferrari instead. Okay. And this logic exists in the rent car class. If we call the rent method, we have the same logic, or the buy car class. Okay. Now the issue is, what if we want to continue to extend our program and include a Lamborghini as an option to rent, buy, or share? Okay, so we're going to have to update the logic here. Else if type dot equals ignore case Lamborghini, car equals new Lamborghini. Okay, so that's not a big deal, but we have to make that change in logic in the buy car class, the rent car class, because it also needs to accommodate a Lamborghini, and the share car class. So we're now having to make changes to multiple classes in our program. Not a big deal in this program. There are only 3 classes that we have to edit, but in much more complicated programs, there could be tens and tens of classes that need to be updated with one change. Okay, we want to avoid that. That's not very efficient programming. So a solution is to follow the design, the factory pattern. Okay. So I'm going to suggest to you, what if in these classes, rent car, share car, and buy car, what if instead of this, we could just do this? My car here is going to be, we're just going to create a car of this type. So let's send the type into create car. So I'm going to call a function, instead of all this logic here, let's just get rid of that logic. Let's just do it like this. Okay. Now, interestingly, where is this method going to exist? It can't exist inside the share car class, because then we'd have to copy and paste it into the rent car class and the buy car class, right? Don't really want that to exist in the main class. I really want this to be an independent class which has a utility method, create car. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to create a new class. I'm going to call it car factory. This is my car factory class. And in the car factory class, there are no instance or class variables. When we construct a car factory, we're not storing data. All I want to do is call a method. This returns a car, and I'm going to call it create car. Okay. Now, because I'm not, this class doesn't need to store any data. It only needs to run a method. Okay, so I don't think I need to construct a car factory object to do this. Okay, so let's make this method static. This method belongs to the class, and we can just call it through the class. We don't need an object reference variable to call this method. Okay, we don't need an object, basically. Now, let's take... remember, the create car it needs to know the type of car. So I'm just going to go back to one of my other classes. I'm just going to copy this logic and paste it into my car factory. Now remember, this thing here is what we're returning. So all we have to do is return. Let's just see if we can get that right. If the type is Bentley, we return a reference to a new Bentley. Else, if the type is Ferrari, we return a new Ferrari. Else, yeah, we didn't get something that we have available, so we're just going to return null. Let's do that. Okay. Now let's go back to the rent or share car class. Remember, that's a static method in the create factory class, car factory class. Okay. Now, I am just going to update this logic a little bit. This call might return null if the type isn't available. Okay. So I might not be able to run the car.toString function, because if car is null, there is no toString function. So I'm just going to add a little bit of logic here. If the car that we got doesn't equal null, then let's do these two things. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this logic and I'm going to paste it into the rent car. And the buy car. I think I just messed up the rent car. We don't have an instance variable here. Okay, so that's the car that we're going to rent. And when we call the rent method, we get the car from the car factory, and then we process the car as we want to. Okay. Now let's imagine that, yes, we do need a Lamborghini. Okay. So look how many changes we have to make now. Let's go into the car factory. Let's add a Lamborghini. Now I am going to get an error here because I haven't designed the Lamborghini class, but that's the only reason I'm getting an error there. Okay. Okay. In fact, just to make sure that this does run, let's quickly make a new Java class. This is my Lamborghini. And the Lamborghini extend car. And when we construct a Lamborghini, we call the super constructor. And the super constructor needs the model and the horsepower. Let's just make up a number. And what else do we need in the Lamborghini class? Because it extends a car, and a car is an abstract class with an abstract method. The Lamborghini class is going to have to implement its own version of the drive method. That's why we've still got an error. So let's do that. Lamborghini is mincing. There's a nice word, down the road. Okay. And again, let's go back to Car Factory. Okay, if I need to put in a, what other cars do we have? A Toyota. Okay, I just have to put it in here. I don't have to update the share car, rent car, and buy car classes. I only update the factory. And that is an introduction to the factory design pattern.